Welcome back to another playthrough series. This time it's going to be Conquest of Nerath. It's a 4-player game, although you can play it with 2 players because the way I'll be playing it is with alliances. It's basically Dungeons & Dragons, put out by Wizards of the Coast. It's Dungeons & Dragons Risk, sort of, and with card abilities. And so the card abilities give each of the factions special abilities. So let's look quickly at the 4 factions. Of course, this board has nothing on it right now. It's just the board. One neat thing about the board is it tells you which faction by color coding to start the game. And it also has little indicators on each space as to which starting units begin the game there. And it has 10 of these dungeons scattered throughout the board as well. So we'll quickly look at the 4 races. We have the Dark Empire of Karkoth, the undead, basically. And each sheet has a sequence of play and a battle sequence on it. It has a place to put the 20 event cards, which are unique to that faction, and a discard as well. And the turn order of the game itself is the Dark Empire of Karkoth goes first, and then we have the Valen Alliance, which are the elves, will go second. We have the Iron Circle, which will be going third. They're kind of the hobgoblins and wizards and that kind of thing. And last, we have going in order the Nerathan League, which are the human players. Again, they have their own 20-card event deck of unique abilities. And so what makes it interesting is the 4 factions indeed have 20 cards each that are different. We're going to shuffle them up at the beginning of the game, and each faction will draw 2 of them. Then Karkoth will begin, and they're going to draw 1 card. So let me get the board set up. I'll zoom into a couple of things first, and then set the board up. We'll have a look at all the starting units out on the board, and we'll look at a couple other things first, and then we'll do that. So I'll show you one other board. It's a quick reference board, and it shows you how, exploring the dungeon, the steps you have to go through, and all this will make sense when we play the game. Treasury here, there is a 30-card deck of unique treasures, and you get treasures by plundering the dungeon. So if you plunder the dungeon successfully, then you draw a treasure from top of the treasure deck, and they're pretty powerful artifacts and items and things. This just has a piece summary. Basically, you have foot soldiers, which are different molds for each faction. Siege engines are the same. Fighters have different molds. Wizards are the same mold. Monsters, different molds. Castles, the same. Storm elementals are the same. Dragons have different molds, and warships are the same. So there's 3 unique sets of molds, and we'll see them in action during the game. And we're going to, you can play this game a couple of ways. You can play free-for-all, which means each faction for themselves, and they're trying to gain victory points by beating on every other faction, or the game that we're going to be playing here, which is an alliance game. And we're going to do a short game, which is 20 shared victory points at the end of the game. So we're going to have Karkoth is allied with the Iron Circle, and the elves and men are allied against them. So we're going to have a team game. So that's that side of the board. And this side is for holding the dungeon tokens. There are 30 dungeon guardians and 10 dungeons on the board, and we'll show you how that works when we're playing. And then we have denominations of 5 gold and silver single golds, and of course the victory conditions. A alliance game, the short game, the first at the end of a round to have 20 points or more. And victory points, it shows you how you get them. You conquer an enemy land space. Gives you 1 victory point. 1 to 3, play a treasure card. Treasure cards have victory points from 1 to 3 on them. And if you conquer an enemy capital, you'll get 5 victory points. So that's how that works. And let me just zoom in on the score tracker and show you how that works there as well. All right, so we have a score tracker that runs the outside of the board. And we're going to be playing here to 20 points. So the first allied team to get to 20 points and be at 20 points or higher at the end of a round will win the game. And I should mention, a round means every one of the 4 factions gets to take a complete turn. So if the allied undeath player, the undead player, and the Iron Circle got to 20 points, the elves and men do get a chance to catch up or exceed the number. If it's a tie at the end of a round, which means everyone's got one turn, then you'll play another complete turn until there is a decisive winner. All right, I'm going to set up the board now so you'll see all the units out on the board. And I think after that, I'm not going to explain the movement rules and the battle rules and all that. There are different dice that are rolled for different units. So foot soldiers get like a D6, siege engines get a D8, that type of thing. So the stronger units roll a bigger sided dice, and a 6+ always hits for battles, and then there are some dungeon monsters that you need higher rolls to hit them. But let me set the board up, I'll show you what it looks like. We'll draw the starting cards for the 4 factions, and next time we'll get right into gameplay. We're back, and the board is completely set up with all the miniatures on it, and yeah, there's a lot. It's a very big board. Miniatures are quite small, and I'll be zooming in as we play the game. And you're wondering, how do we set that up? Well, there are, like I said, icons on the board to tell you which units of which faction go in every space, and also on the back of the faction cards, kind of like Axis and Allies, tells you, Dark Empire of Karkoth. It shows you the locations, and it gives you a list of the locations, where they're located on the map, and which units go in there, and even unit icons on the bottom. So that's on the back of each of the faction cards. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to readjust the camera a bit. We're going to draw 2 event cards, and I'll just show you one of the event decks, Karkoth here. So there's 20 cards. You just shuffle them up, and you draw 2 of them. And at the beginning of each faction's turn, they're going to be drawing 1 card, and you'll see the cards have different special abilities. Some are play immediately, some can be used at the start of battle, some at the end of battle, a bunch of different effects. So let's get doing that. We're going to start with the Dark Empire of Karkoth. Then we'll do Valand Alliance, the Iron Circle, and lastly, the Nerathan League of the Humans. Okay, so the first 2 cards is for a startup, for the setup of the game. For the Dark Empire of Karkoth, we'll take a look at both of them. The first one is Rampage, and it's played during your draw step, which is now, and I believe you can play these cards immediately, but of course it's the setup, it's not even the draw phase yet, but if you did draw this card right now, I believe you can play it. It says choose 1 enemy land space, roll a d12 attack dice against that space equal to the number of Karkoth monsters in all land spaces adjacent to it. So this is giving the monsters an extra rampage attack. The space's controller chooses how to take any damage. So zombie hulks are difficult to control, but Karkoth's rulers favor chaos. So that could come in handy. And we also have Cloud of Darkness. Play at the start of a battle round involving a Karkoth dragon. It says cancel 1 hit scored during this battle round. The black dragon drapes itself in shadow, hiding it and nearby allies. Okay, so those are the 2 event cards that the Karkoth player has to start the game. And now we're going to take a look at the 2 cards for the Elven Alliance. Valand Alliance, and they have Primal Surge. Play when you miss with at least 1 attack roll in a battle round. Reroll all your missed attack rolls. This battle round, you must keep the new results. If you play this card during your first strike phase, you also reroll any other missed rolls during the battle round. It says the forces of nature guide the attacks of Valand's warriors, so that's good during battle. This is another play during the draw step. Transfer 1 enemy warship or storm elemental from its current square to 1 adjacent sea space of your choice. The chosen sea space must be friendly to the transferred piece. It says the Elder Druids of Lord Valand's Council are primal weather masters. So those are the 2 starting cards for the Valand Elves. And next up, we have the Iron Circle cards, and Disguised Advance. Play during your draw step. Choose 2 adjacent friendly land spaces. Transfer your pieces between those spaces. Masterful Illusions hide advancing forces from the view of enemies. And Pirate Fleet. Play immediately. Add 1 Iron Circle warship to 1 friendly sea space. So this is a play immediately, which means we're going to be doing it this very minute. So we're going to take a warship for the Iron Circle, which is right here, and they get to place it in a friendly sea space. Well, all sea spaces are friendly, and I think we're going to add it right here to the setup which is adjacent to the capital, and now we have 2 ships and a storm elemental here. So that card, of course, gets discarded because it's been played immediately. And last up, we have the Nerathian League, the human player. And they have a play immediately. 2 front war. Add 1 Nerath fighter to each of 2 different friendly land spaces. Oh, and another play immediately. So lots of play immediately for the humans. Add 1 Nerath foot soldier to each of up to 5 different friendly land spaces, starting with spaces containing no pieces. 1 Nerath foot soldier each up to 5 different friendly land spaces, starting with spaces containing no. Well, we don't have any spaces containing no pieces, so we're going to add 1 foot soldier to each of 5 different friendly land spaces, and this one is added Nerath each of 2 different friendly land spaces. So we're going to be adding a total of 7 foot soldiers already for the human player, and 2 of them can go, I guess, in the same space because they're different cards. So let me probably have to do a bit of zooming in here, a bit of thinking of where to place all of these foot soldiers, and we'll come back with that. All right, so the first 2 places from the 1 card, the 2 front war card, which is to play 2 footmen to different regions. I'm going to shore up the couple of places right here because we have a lot of the iron circle around it. And let me zoom into another area and we will place the other 5. All right, so 3 of the 5, I'm going to put 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here with our giant, stone giant. And the last 2 we're going to put next to the undead player, the Karkoth. So let me just readjust and do that. All right, and the last 2, I'm going to put 1 here and 1 here. Now the card did state to place them on different places, which we've done, and starting on spaces containing no pieces. Well, there are none right now in the game, so that's why I'm placing them alongside other ones. That's a great start for our human player. That allows them to put 7 extra footmen on the board. That's great. Let me just zoom out, and then I think we'll just kind of wrap up a little bit here. In the next episode, we're going to start right into the gameplay with the Dark Empire of Karkoth. All right, well, the world is populated with the 2 warring allied sides, and we're going to be beginning, and I didn't go over all of the rules. And like I said, certain units have rolled different denominations of dice, but we'll get into that as we play. I'll do my best to explain everything as we go. And I should show you, these are the dungeon tokens, or little thick cardboard pieces with a dungeon door on it. And all of the dungeons, there's 10 of them on the board, start with 1. Of course, this is Tomb of Horrors, or all Lost Caverns of Zojanth, all the locations basically set in the Dungeons and Dragons world. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Join me next time where we get into the first part of the game. Dark Empire of Karkoth goes first, the undead player, and we'll see what kind of damage they can do. All right, thanks for watching, and join me next time.